What's up, guys? Spencer here. We're back doing another YouTube video for you guys. As always, I really appreciate you guys tuning in, watching all the videos that we do here on my channel, the J Concepts channel, and following all of our social media. Last thing before we get officially started, I really want to give a shout out to Hannah behind the camera and J Concepts for allowing us to do these cool videos. Specifically about this video, we're going to be talking about kind of the newest hype, Kool-Aid we call it, is the upside down shocks. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of videos come out in the near future talking about the upside down shocks. We've already seen a lot of the guys in Europe kind of started the process. The Tommy Hall and his brother kind of starting a little bit of the Kool-Aid drinking, which is kind of cool. I don't mind it at all. It's something that it's a tuning option on the car. It's something different. We've seen it before. This isn't really the first time that we started to do this, but it's something that we are starting to run a lot more of. And I wanted to give you guys my experience, what I think of why it's working, what's really the process behind it. I've already seen a lot of videos on YouTube, like JQ doing a video kind of challenging the Hall brothers. And I think it's actually pretty cool. It gives people something to talk about. But ultimately, my first time ever trying the shocks upside down was actually after the Florida Carpet Champs in 2022. And Tommy Hall came from the UK, had some really good success there. I ended up driving his car after the main, and I really liked how the car jumped and landed, in addition to kind of like already 13mm shocks. But I really thought it actually had a lot of influence of how it cornered, pitched weight front to back, and that's what this video is going to be kind of talking about. Trying to keep it as short as we possibly can, but I want to show you guys a little bit of close-up before we zoom back out and start talking about really what the changes are happening. I'm showing you guys kind of how it's actually mounted. There's multiple ways of how you can actually have it mounted, but I actually have the shock bottom basically popped on like a ball cup to the shock standoff, and then on the bottom I have the shock standoff screwed all the way in with a washer, so it can't kind of pop off. Obviously, you can still do a nut on the bottom with the set screw, and then you can also actually keep the original ball on the top here and just do a screw and a 2mm washer with a nut, and then you can pop it off easily. But this is a little bit more permanent. So as you can see here, with the shock being further down, there is no clearance issue, so there's no dremeling actually needed, which is nice. So that's pretty much for how it's actually mounted, and maybe I can do another video talking about how everything is mounted and ultimately the process, a couple of different ways you can do it. But basically, from my testing that I found, and it's totally personal preference, I'm not really saying that you guys should definitely do this. It's a complete game changer, but there are some very, very good attributes that adds to the stability, the handling of the vehicle. And I don't personally think that it's coming from the lower CG. I actually think that it's coming from the shock being actually bolted to the arm, which adds a lot of unsprung weight. JQ actually did a video talking about a couple of different theories of what you can actually do to have a similar feel. What I actually think is happening when the shock's mounted to the arm, it actually works the suspension a lot slower, which helps for tracks that are really smooth. I don't really think you would recommend running this, for instance, on like an 8-scale vehicle because of the bumps, or an off-road vehicle if there is some chop. So I think some of the actual advantages is coming from the shock working a lot slower. So there are a couple things you can do to have a similar feel without actually putting the shocks upside down, because a lot of people are going to bag on this video, bag on other videos, and talk crap about it. We do sell factory team hubs that are a lot heavier than the plastic hubs, which add more unsprung weight. So it's doing a similar thing without physically having to put the shocks upside down. The other thing you can do having the shocks the normal way, right side up, is actually doing a reverse tapered piston. So the taper part's facing upwards. So when you're going down, it's actually slow, and then when it's going up, it's actually quicker. Those are some things to make it a very similar drive. But back to how I thought it actually drives on the track is, since the shock is working a lot slower, I feel personally that you have more time to react and make decisions without being so critical on the steering wheel. And those are some things that with carpet, everything's happening so fast. I definitely think it's worth trying because it slows a lot of the stuff down. I think my timing was a lot better when I tested it at the Florida Carpet Champs at Beach RC. And for the other parts of it, the jumping and handling, ironically, it does do a lot better jumping and landing. I think it packs up a little bit more. I think it pops better off jumps. I can kind of show you a description of what I'm talking about. During the Florida Carpet Champs, my car on some of the doubles or triples, it would go off a jump and jump like this in the air and stay like that through the whole landing, where when I had my shocks upside down, it actually popped and the rear end was actually up higher, which is traditionally what you want. And those are all combinations of spring, piston, but for whatever reason, I kept the same spring and piston. It actually fixed the process of jumping. So those are some main features of why I've been preferring the shocks upside down. Big shout out to the guys in Europe for trying it, pushing the limits. It's something that's been around for a long time. So give it a whirl if you're a tinkerer. If you're looking for a little bit of an edge, definitely give it a whirl. This weekend we're racing at the J Concepts NCTS at Beach RC. We're in Michigan, I believe. We're having a good time. We Associated guys are doing great. Aiden's kicking butt out here. I'm having some good runs. It's some stiff competition. Dakota's out here. Austin Horn, Drain's out here. And we're having some fun. So anyways, guys, I appreciate you tuning in as always. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, please do. Give it a like if you haven't already. And hopefully this gave you some more knowledge and some insight on what to do next time you go out. Thanks, guys.